Hello, viewers. I am Mr. Dilip Kumar Pal. Stand before you with a topic Major Tribal Movements in India Part 2. In plus 3 fifth semester DSE-2 paper, there is a chapter Major Tribal Movements in India. In Major Tribal Movements in India, Part 1, I have discussed three major tribal movements in India like Tomar movement, Kherwar movement, and Santhal revolt. In Major Tribal Movements in India, Part 2, I will discuss two major tribal movements like Sardari Larai or Mukti Larai movement and Birsa Munda revolt or movement. But before I will start my video on major tribal movements in India part 2, I want to inform my viewers that my channel name is Dilip Kumar Pal 9375. Never forget, in this channel, videos from plus 3 first semester to 6th semester political science honors, videos from plus 3 first semester to 5th semester ethics and values, videos from plus 3 first semester to 2nd semester political science general elective, and videos of environmental studies of plus 3 first semester are found, and some political science videos of plus 2 first year and plus 2 second year are also found in this channel. I suggest my viewers that any video on any topic you want, you may be of plus 2 level or plus 3 level, just write my name Dilip Kumar Pal and the name of the topic in Google or YouTube. You will get videos in English and Odia. Any video you will find in English, be sure its Odia version is also in the channel. And any video you will find in Odia, be sure its English version is also in the channel. Let us start. Major tribal movements in India, part 2. Because I have already told you that in major tribal movements, part 1, I have discussed Tomar movement, Kherwar movement and Santhal revolt. And in major tribal movements, part 2, I will discuss Sardari Larai or Mukti Larai movement. 1858 to 1895 and Birsa Munda revolt 1895 to 1901. Let us start. Before we discuss Sardari Larai or Mukti Larai movement 1858 to 1895, we must know about the meaning of tribals. Tribals or natives or indigenous people or aboriginals made various movements against different types of injustices made towards them. Major tribal movements are mentioned below. Tribals, who are tribals? Tribals or Adivasis or natives or indigenous people or people those who are staying in a place for a long time, they are not in the Indian caste system and they are in socially disadvantaged positions. They are known as tribals. So tribals made various movements against injustices made towards them. The fourth important movement is Sardari Larai or Mukti Larai movement 1858 to 1895. This is the fourth movement. So what this movement is? Sardar Larai or Mukti Larai movement 1858 to 1895. This movement was led by the Sardars of Munda and Oraon tribes in Chotnagpur area of Jharkhand. The Sardari Larai or Mukti Larai movement was made by two tribes like Munda tribes This movement was made by the Sardars of Munda and Orang tribes in Chotnagpur area of Jharkhand. This movement was made by Sardars or chiefs or leaders of Munda tribes and Orang tribes of Chotnagpur area of Jharkhand. This movement was made by whom? Sardars or chiefs of Munda tribes and Orang tribes of Chotnagpur area of Jharkhand. This movement was made against Dikos or outsiders, those who were exploiting tribals, landlords and British government for whom tribals lost control over the land, livelihood and suffered injustices and humiliation on a regular basis. This movement, which was made by the Sardars or the chiefs of Munda tribes and Orang tribes, this movement was made by Sardars of Munda and Orang tribes. Against whom? This movement was made against Dikos. Dikos means outsiders, those who were exploiting tribals. This movement was made by the Dikos or outsiders, those who were exploiting tribals. Number one. Number two, landlords and British government, for whom tribals lost control over the land, livelihood and suffered injustices and humiliation on a regular basis. This movement was made by the Dikos or outsiders, landlords and British government, for whom tribals were losing lands and tribals were suffering from different type of injustices on a regular basis. The main objective of this movement was to safeguard land rights and cultural identity of tribals, abolition of forced labor, Beth Begari, B-E-T-H, Beth, B-E-G-A-R-I, Begari, abolition of Jomidari, and protection of ancestral right of tribals on forest and land. The main objective of this movement was to safeguard land rights and cultural identity of tribals. The main objective of this movement was to safeguard land rights of tribals, cultural identity of tribals, abolition of forced labor, which is known as Beth Begari, abolition of Jomidar system, and protection of ancestral right of tribal on forest and land. And protection of ancestral right means hereditary right of tribal on land and forest. In this movement, peaceful means like petition, prayers, protest to demand justice were made. In this movement, peaceful methods were made to achieve the object, like petition, give application, prayer, requesting, and protest to demand justice were made. In this movement, peaceful methods were applied to achieve the object, like petitions means giving application, prayer, requesting, and protest. However, colonial government refused to pay any heed to such request. But colonial government gave no importance to this movement. As a result, movement had taken violent turn. When colonial government gave no importance to this movement took a violent turn. There were many clashes between Jamidars and Adivasi tenant. As government did not give importance to this movement, so classes, the movement turned violent, and classes, fightings were found between tenants and Jamidars. The movement was ruthlessly suppressed by British government, but British government suppressed this movement by force. So this is what Sardari Larai or Mukti Larai movement 1858 to 1895. Now discuss Birsa Munda revolt 1895 to 1901. It is Birsa Munda revolt. The Birsa Munda revolt, also known as Ulgulan. The Birsa Munda movement was also known as Ulgulan, Ulguln, Ulgulan movement or Great Rebellion. As a was a tribal rebellion led by Birsa Munda against the British Raj in the late 19th century in the Chotnagpur area, now in Jharkhand. This Birsa Munda movement was otherwise known as Ulgulan movement or Great Rebellion, was a tribal revolution made by Birsa Munda against the British Raj in the late 19th century in the Chotnagpur area, now in Jharkhand. This movement was made in Chotnagpur area of Jharkhand. It was led by Birsa Munda, and this movement was known as Great Rebellion or Ulgulan movement. This revolt is considered as one of the most organized and widespread tribal uprisings in India's colonial history. This movement was known as the most organized and widespread. It was found in many areas. It was known as organized discipline and widespread uprisings. It is one of the organized and widespread uprisings in India's colonial history. In India's colonial history, there were many organized and widespread movements. Among them, this Birsa Munda movement was one. Causes of this movement. Why this Birsa Munda movement took place? Causes. Number one, a vital cause of this revolt was abolition of Khuntari system. KhuntKari. A vital cause of this revolt was abolition of Khuntari system of tribal land system by Jomidari system. The first cause of this movement was the abolition of Khuntari system of tribal people, and British government replaced in its place Jomidari system. In the Khuntari system, so what is a Khuntari system? In the Khuntari system, tribals were given land by their tribal community who helped them to clear forest land for cultivation purpose, and lands are given according to their needs, and in turn tribal give rent to the tribal chiefs. What is a Khuntari system? In the Khuntari system, tribals were given land by the tribal community. In the Khuntari system, what is a Khuntari system? In the Khuntari system, tribals were given land, cultivated land, by the tribal community who helped them to clear forest land for cultivation purpose, and lands are given according to their needs, and in turn tribal gave rent to the tribal chiefs. So in the Khuntari system, tribals are given land by their tribal community which help tribals to clear forest land for cultivation, and tribals are given land according to their needs, and in turn tribals give rent. In turn, tribal give rent to the tribal chiefs. This was the Khuntari system. There was no landlordism in the system. There was no landlordism. But the British government introduced Jomidar system, where landlords or Jomidars were appointed, and tribals were told to give rent to those landlords, and failure to do so resulted eviction from land, removal of land. The first cause of this tribal movement was the abolition of Khuntari system by the British government and replaced Jomidar system in its place. So what is the Khuntari system? In the Khuntari system, tribals are given land by the tribal community which help tribals to clear forest land and make forest land for cultivation, and tribals are given land according to the needs, and in turn tribal give rents to the tribal chiefs. This is the Khuntari system. It was abolished, and British introduced Jomidar system. In the Jomidar system, landlords or Jomidars are appointed, and tribals are forced to give rent to the Jomidars, and these Jomidars used physical force against tenants and extracted different kinds of allowances from them. The British government appointed Jomidars or landlords, and tenants or tribals are told to give rent to them. And these landlords or jamidars, they use physical force against the tribals who are unable to give rent, and even they extracted different type of allowances from the tribal, or they took various type of gifts from the tribals in their ceremonies. So as Khunkar system was abolished, Birsa Munda movement took place. Number two, tribals took money on interest from the moneylenders to give rent to landlords and to fulfill their daily needs. These moneylenders charge excess interest, so tribals were exploited. Another cause of Birsa Munda movement was that tribals were taking money, taking cash from the moneylenders on high rate of interest to give rent to landlords and to fulfill their basic needs. But these moneylenders were charging high rate of interest on the tribals. So tribals were exploited. This was second reason. Number three, tribals clan council provided them justice without fee. In tribal community, there was tribal clan council, which was giving justice to tribals without fee. But British government abolished clan council system and introduced court system where fees were charged. British government, another reason of Birsa Munda movement was that British government abolished clan council system. In the tribal community, there was clan council system which was giving justice to tribals without fee. But British government abolished clan council system and tribal clan council system and introduced court system where justice is given by taking fees. So it was another reason of tribal movement. These are the three regions of Birsa Munda movement. Now discuss goal of this movement. What was the goal of Birsa Munda movement? Number one, to establish an independent Munda state or Munda Raj. First objective is to establish an independent Munda state or Munda Raj, an independent state for tribal people. Number two, drive out British rule, to kick out British rule. Number three, re-establish Khunkar system. Number four, restrict Christian missionaries from religion conversion practice. Restrict Christian missionaries who are converting tribal into Christianity. These are the four objectives of Birsa Munda movement. Goals. Then methods of movement. Guerrilla warfare with traditional weapons, bows and arrow. The method of this movement was to apply traditional means of war like bows and arrow. It was the Birsa Munda movement apply guerrilla war. Guerrilla war means not front war, but war by hiding. It is guerrilla warfare. It is not a front war, front to front war. Guerrilla war is not a front to front war. Rather, it is a war by different angles, not front to front war. And Birsa Munda movement adopted guerrilla warfare by traditional techniques of bows and arrow. Now we'll discuss suppression of this movement, how this movement was suppressed. Birsa Munda and his supporters fought against British rule. Birsa Munda and his supporters fought against British rule. Birsa Munda was arrested and other leaders were tried ruthlessly. No doubt, under Birsa Munda, movement was made against British government, but Birsa Munda was arrested and his supporters were suppressed ruthlessly. On 9th January 1900, on 9th January 1900, Birsa Munda was died. On 9th January 1900, Birsa Munda was died. It weakened Munda movement. When Birsa Munda was dead, it weakened the Munda movement. Now we'll discuss result of this movement. What was the result of this movement? No doubt this movement was weakened, but what was its result? Number one, government passed Tenancy Act 1903. Government passed Tenancy Act of 1903 and recognized Khundkati system. Government passed Tenancy Act of 1903 and recognized Khundkari and Khundkati Khuntkati system. Government passed Tenancy Act of 1903 and recognized Khundkati Khuntkati system. It means who will help to clear forest for cultivation. Land belong to them, not to one. In the Khuntkati system, British government recognized. In the Khuntkati system, who will clear the forest land for cultivation purpose? Who will help to clear the forest land for cultivation purpose? Land will belong to them, not to one. It is system. It means who will help to clear forest for cultivation land. It means who will help to clear forest for cultivation. Land belong to them, not to one. It means who will help to make forest land for cultivation purpose. Land belong to them in total, not to one. So government recognized Khuntkati system. Number two, steps were taken to prepare land records. So tribal lands will be protected. Steps were taken to prepare land records. Land records will have to be maintained. So tribal lands will be protected. Number three, tribal land cannot be transferred to non-tribals. Tribal land cannot be transferred to non-tribals. Number four, in 2021, Indian government recognized 15th November as National Tribal Pride Day or Janajatiya Gaurav Divas to remember contribution of Birsa Munda. On 2021, Indian government recognized 15th November as National Tribal Pride Day. National Tribal Pride Day or Janajatiya Gaurav Divas to remember contributions of Birsa Munda. So, in this video we have discussed Sardari Larai, Mukti Larai movement and Birsa Munda movement. I request my viewers to subscribe the channel and aware of your friends to subscribe the channel. They may be of +2 or +3. So, a lot of students will be benefited. Remember, by giving help to anybody, will not have loss. It is a social work. Every human being within his lifetime must do something for himself and something for society. I expect this much from my viewers. Thank you. Have a good day.